Hey there, BookTube. Noah. Everyone who reads and must converse is the channel. Here I'm going to do a little review, my take, and just kind of turn you guys on to an awesome work, Master and Margarita by Mikhail Bulgakov. Now, a little background to Bulgakov. He was not, terribly popular as far as I can tell, but he was like part of the literature elite. It's like he was up there, and everybody kind of knew who he was and this kind of thing, but he was kind of blacklisted by the Soviet government because of the kind of things he would say, the kind of position that he had towards the government, towards social laws and regulations and things like that. So what an awesome cover, huh? I love this cover, even though this is the copy that I read as well. Got it at a used bookstore. Mara Ginsburg is the translator on this one, and did a fair job. I mean, totally cool. But I've since read Anna Karenina, the Peaver and Volokonsky translation of Anna Karenina, and it is so lucid and was so easy to read, comparatively speaking. And P&V, Peaver and Volokonsky, they have translated this one as well. They've translated all kinds of Russian works. Matt and Mayberry Book Club showed a whole bunch of Dostoevsky that it's their translations. I'd love to get my hands on some of that. And of course, Tolstoy. And so there's a couple of I've read The Heart of a Dog by Bulgakov, and there's a collection of diary writings and letters called Manuscripts Don't Burn, and that is very, very interesting. Now, the idea of manuscripts don't burn, that quote is from Master and Margarita. So let's I'll just read the back. I'm gonna give you guys the back just to give you as much information as possible, and then I'll give you my take on it, because it is just a fun work. The blurb on the front: a rich, funny, moving, and bitter novel, vast and boisterous entertainment. A wild, surrealistic romp, brilliantly flamboyant and outrageous. All right, suppressed in the Soviet Union for 26 years, Mikhail Bulgakov's masterpiece is an ironic parable on power and its corruption, on good and evil, and on human frailty and the strength of love. Featuring Satan, accompanied by a retinue that includes the large, fast-talking, vodka-drinking black tomcat behemoth, the beautiful Margarita, her beloved, a distraught writer known only as the Master, Pontius Pilate, and Jesus Christ, the Master and Margarita combines fable, fantasy, political satire, and slapstick comedy into a wildly entertaining and unforgettable tale that is commonly considered one of the greatest novels to ever come out of the Soviet Union. It is awesome. It took me a while to get into it, even though the first chapter or the first two chapters really just are an amazing scene. You have a writer, and the writer's name is Homeless. You have a writer and his agent walking down down the street in Moscow. They're like on a lake, and they're walking. It's hot. They stop. They get some apricot juice, and they're talking. They're talking, literature, or they're talking poetry. And the agent is being very critical of what the poet has written, and Satan shows up. And his name in this is Wotan. He's playing a role, of course. So Wotan shows up, and he's just an amazing figure. Eyes, different colors, got this weird walk about him, almost ghost-like or something, appearing, and he predicts the agent's death right off the rip. Just predicts his death, and it is ridiculous. I mean, it's the kind of stuff that happens is shocking, but also has this element of absurdity and Satan and his retinue, that includes Behemoth right there, go on a spree through Moscow, just nailing these literary elite. There's a club, the Moscow Writers Club, that is this elite writing group, and they just ravage these people, and nobody is aware, and nobody knows what's going on. Because who can communicate this kind of thing? Yeah, somebody is predicted somebody, this guy's death, and all this absurdity kind of ensues. And so nobody's listening to this. The writer gets thrown into a mental institution very quick off the heels of the opening scene, and therein there's just an amazing conversation between the writer and the doctor that's in charge of the hospital that he's put in. So many great. You can just tell that this work has been hashed out so deeply. Mikhail Bulgakov knew every single character intimately. It's an amazing read. And in the mental institution, you meet the Master. The Master is known simply by that epithet, the Master. And he's a writer. He's a writer that has been writing something and has given it up. And he's lost his love, Margarita. And so, along with that narrative that I've just touched on there of Satan going around with his retinue through Moscow, just causing chaos, there is a narrative behind it that's told of actually Jesus's crucifixion, and told from the point of view of Pontius Pilate. This is a story that comes through and at first Satan is telling this story as if he was there. On a first-person account, he tells this story to the writer and does a great job at it, for sure. You really get a feeling like you're hearing a first-person account using the Aramaic words for Bethlehem is Yerushalayim. Jerusalem is Yerushalayim. Like that. So when you really read these things, you get a sense that hey, it's deeper than what you expect. But Jesus is definitely not the kind of figure that you would expect, and Jesus is not necessarily having a whole devoted group following him. He has one guy, Matthew Levi, and Matthew Levi is just at his wit's end as well. All around an amazing book that goes to a climax that is totally indescribable. I can't even try to get there without just totally spoiling stuff. So I'll just kind of leave it there with the plot points, but just to say that Behemoth is the cat is just such an awesome character, and funny, hilarious, absurd, horrifying, and very memorable. There's so many memorable things about this work. I totally recommend it. So I wanted to share, and let me know if you've read it. Let me know what you think about it, and if not, maybe check it out if you're down for that Russian literature. Thank you, BookTube. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.